Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this week's recap video. I'm going to answer questions from all of last week's videos, but before we get into that, a couple of things I wanted to talk about. First off, on Facebook, this past week I posted that we just entered into a new partnership with Felco, which they have an amazing line of hand pruners, and I've been using them for as long as I can remember, and I've talked about them forever on this channel. I think like one of our first, in our first 10 videos, Erin, we did like a Felco review. I think we've privated it at this point. It was pretty bad, but I loved them so much that I just went down to the garden center and I bought every single pair of different type, because they have different types for left-handed or right-handed, or different sizes based on the size of your hand, and different styles of pruners and so forth. And I did a review anyway. We still had people commenting 5 years later, because we did a giveaway attached to that video as well, wanting to be entered into the giveaway. So anyway, we've since privated that video, but I love their pruners, and we were so excited about the partnership that we decided to do a giveaway and give away 3 pairs of my favorite Felco 2 pruners. And I do have the winners' names right here. So congratulations to Melinda Napnilla. Not sure if I'm saying your name properly or not. If I'm not, I'm sorry. And Cameron. It's awesome. You guys are going to love your pruners. And then the second thing I wanted to talk about is we have decided on our main channel to kind of adopt a new video posting schedule. We're going to be posting just a little bit fewer videos a week, like 5 or 6 videos. We right now are kind of set out to do 6-day-a-week video posting schedule, skipping Sundays, just because, you know, once we get into summer, the dog days of summer, it's really hot. The amount of projects we're doing or want to do out in the heat, it naturally dwindles a little bit. So we thought, you know what, it'd be kind of nice to just skip 1 day a week, because doing 7 projects or 7 video projects, it's different when you make a project into a video versus just doing it off video, because it takes a lot longer to do a project. Anyway, we thought it might be a little bit nice to take a day off from that and just, I don't know, seek to strive a little bit more balance in our life. Although we will still be posting our recap videos here on the Highlights channel once a week, and those go up like Monday or Tuesday, depending on when we can get them done and edited. And then we oftentimes put up just some random project videos on the Highlights channel as well. So there'll still be plenty of videos. So make sure that you're subscribed both to our main channel and our Highlights channel. Yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know. Many of you already noticed this past weekend that we did not post. We got lots of messages. All right, so let's just get into the videos from last week. Ooh, I'm moving my table around here. Okay, first one was planting caladiums and salvia in my parents' garden. And I just loaded up the truck with 3 different varieties of salvia. There was Violet Profusion, Violet Riot, and Indiglo Girl, all beautiful varieties. And Snowdrift and Tickle Me Pink caladiums. And we took them out to my parents' house to plant them around their pool area. It was a really fun evening. Janelle said, hello, so I think I saw a video on storing your caladiums for the winter. Will your mom do the same? And was she okay with you putting extra work on her? I don't know if she'll lift them. She may not. Typically, when you're giving plants to people, I don't know, if people give me plants, I never mind the extra work that it takes. And some years, some years we do get around to lifting bulbs and tubers and all those sorts of things to store, and sometimes we don't. It just kind of is the name of the game, and if you don't get around to it, I don't know. I think working in the gardening industry, my parents have a garden center, it's not something that they really, I don't know, I don't carry a lot of guilt if I don't get around to getting something lifted, because it's fairly easy to order more the next year, and then you can try out new varieties and all that sort of thing. So anyway, I don't know what they'll do. They are enjoying them, and they are starting to bulk out too. They looked a little not weak, but just small when we planted them, and they're already pushing new leaves, which is really exciting. Crystal says, I so love your parents' rock wall. I was hoping to put one in our backyard, but I still haven't convinced my hubby. Did your parents build it, or was it there when they moved into the property? So the rock walls around the pool, which is the ones that we showed you in this video, that's the only rock wall that my parents actually built completely. All the other rock walls that are around their property, which if you've watched a tour, one of our tours through their property, you know that they live on a hill. So a lot of their gardens are terraced, which is beautiful. It creates really cozy rooms in their garden. I don't know, I just love it. Anyway, all of those rock walls were there when we moved in. They've had to do a tremendous amount of repair work throughout the years, because, some years we get a ton of snow and ice and, just natural wear and tear on the walls. I mean, you have kids jumping off of the walls, and with me and my brother and sister, we did a lot of playing out there. Occasionally would partially collapse the wall a little bit. So yeah, the one around the pool, they did build themselves. They're having a little bit of issue with it on the very far end, by the deep end of the pool where those 3 big junipers are, because the junipers' root systems, they got way bigger than the tag said, and it's starting to push part of the rock wall away. So definitely hire a professional. to do your rock wall. Because I mean, there's specific ways you can build them that give them a little bit more stability, like building them, you've got your straight face, but you build them kind of in at a slant. Anyway, I've done a little research into doing rock walls and so forth because we were going to do a little barrier or a retaining wall over here on the west side because our property does slope a tiny bit there. And anyway, definitely I would hire a professional for sure. Sheila said, I'm curious as to why you need to remove the lavender from that area in your parents' garden. That lavender has been there. When did they put the pool in? When I was a junior in high school. So like almost 20 years ago or 20 years ago. How many years? 18 years ago. I don't know. A long time ago. And some plants just have a life cycle or a lifespan. And those plants were getting really woody. They weren't looking very good anymore. And they were just done. They were tired. They needed to come out. They weren't looking full and lush like they used to. So I was just like, ooh, when you take them out, I've got some really pretty things we can put in. So it was perfect. Yeah. Evelyn said, my kind of fun family Friday night. I watched all your videos out of order, so not sure who the lady in the hat is. In one video where you were working at your parents' garden center, there was a lady with a hat helping you and your mom, and you said her name was Monica. Is this the same lady in your kitchen in this video? Yes. Is Monica your sister? Yes. She's 3 years younger than me. And she lives in Washington, so she was down for like 10 days or so visiting, and she always helps us out a lot. Like, I want her to move back to the area, and I want to hire her to work for me. I think my mom and I would have to fight over who got to hire her. Next question was from Senice. Are these caladiums planted from bulbs that you saved from last season? What happened to them? Those particular ones weren't. Those were new bulbs this year. I have some still in the box, but I did plant some of my bulbs that I dug up last year around the tree area up front. Everything's doing great up there, by the way. And then J-Max said, close to 1 million subscribers. What kind of celebration are we all going to have when you hit the milestone? So happy and proud of you. Thank you. I can't even believe it. Like, it's such a weird, it's surreal, and I can't even wrap my brain around the fact that we are getting close to that milestone. It just, I don't know. I don't think about numbers very often. I did in the beginning because it was kind of like this, I don't know, you get this energy from like, oh, people are watching your stuff. This is so exciting. And then it got to a point where I'm like, okay, I don't want it to be about numbers. I want it to be about like relationships and creating this community. And it's just been such an amazing thing. And it is an amazing community. You guys are all awesome. I don't know, what should we do, Erin? Like, should I do a whole vlog like with a ponytail? Yeah. And like, what else?
I think that's perfect.
Maybe when we hit 1 million subscribers, I'll do a whole video in a ponytail and short sleeves or something like that, in shorts. Nobody would know who I was. Okay, next video is planting a trio of containers and a visit with Molly. So in that video, it was a Saturday. We were going over to Erin's sister's family's house, and we took some containers, a trio of teal containers that Michael Carr Designs sent out earlier this spring, and then some flowers for it. And then we got to visit with Molly, who's the German Shepherd that we bought. When was that? Benjamin's first. So was it last year?
Yeah, last summer.
Last April.
Yep.
And we quickly realized that it was not a good fit for us. It was not a good time, and but it was perfect. It was almost like it was meant to be, because my our family had just lost their dog the fall prior, and they were thinking about getting a new puppy, but they were in a position where they didn't really know, like, I don't know. It was just perfect. It was like we got to gift them something amazing. I don't know. It just, yeah. She is happy. She's in a better position where she's at than she would have been here. We are just so busy, and we don't have proper fencing and all of that. I mean, there's all those things that you just didn't think about. And I realize now, like, there's a lot to consider before jumping in again at some point. Anyway, Sandy said, did the pots have drainage holes? If not, I guess it's just a matter of not overwatering. Those pots did have drainage holes. They're just regular pots. So in that shipment that Michael Carr Designs and Proven Winner sent out, it's kind of like a joint thing. There were some Proven Winners aqua pots in that order, but there were also some regular Michael Carr Designs containers, which are just regular ceramic containers with regular drain holes. So they shouldn't have any issue with drainage and any of that. Next question is from Kay Robinson. I've always thought that Laura must never sleep in order to get all this done. We have a lot of good help. That's how we get it all done. So exactly how early is really early? When do you call it a day and head to bed? So I don't get a tremendous amount of sleep. I don't require a ton. I mean, like 5 or 6 hours is plenty for me. Erin, you require like a full 8. I think a lot of people do. I would function better probably if I slept more, but I've had the worst insomnia ever since Benjamin was born. It just like set me on this track. And then I don't know, when I wake up in the night, I'm not like thinking about anything, like I'm not like nervous or anxious or stressed when I wake up in the night. It's just like I'm awake. And I get that really weird, you know, like that tingly feeling in your legs, like we call it the nervous leg. I get it in my whole body. Like I feel like I just need to jump out of bed and run laps around our house just to get that energy out of my body. It's weird. Anyway, so we usually go to bed with sometime between midnight and 2. It's typical. And then if I slept all night, like a good time for waking up is like 7-ish, maybe. But lately I've been waking up between 4 and 5. Russell, it always bugs me through the night too. Like he comes and gets right in my face and then he goes to our door and scratches on it and wants out. And then he wants back in. So I'm up and down all night. I can't put in a cat door because we have feral cats and skunks that come to our doors. And there's also foxes and all those kind of things. Not that they would ever come in, but I'm worried about the skunks. I really don't want a skunk in our house. So anyway, that's that. Julie said, I love watching you plant these pots. They're gorgeous. That Hippo Pink is beautiful. Have you used that before? I used Hippo Pink, was that last year, around the bird bath? Yeah, by the back sun porch.
It's been the year before that.
It might have been. I think we may have some pictures. I used it in the ground and it was really pretty. I really enjoyed it. It's kind of a really nice alternative to coleus, but you get like that brighter pink color. And there's also Hippo White and Hippo Red. They are an improved version of Hypoestes, which is a polka dot plant. And they're also a really good house plant. So it's something that if you put in a container or in the ground, you can either bring the container inside or dig it up and pot it up and bring it inside for the winter time. They also can handle more sun than traditional polka dot plants, and they grow bigger and stockier. So anyway, I really loved it in these containers, in the one container I put it in. Cindy said, Erin did not seem to really want to carry a pot into his clean truck. You have to understand that our trucks, we get them detailed about like twice a year, maybe.
Once, maybe once.
Once.
Yeah.
And it stays like that for like 2 days. And then, I mean, we use our trucks so much. I mean, we take so many dirty things. I mean, our job is dirty. We deal with dirt and plants and dirty tools and stuff. And so our trucks get just trashed super fast. So whenever we get it detailed or cleaned, we would just want to like savor that for as long as we can. I think it looks pretty good. It came out pretty good after hauling that planter. Diane says, do you regret not keeping her? Nope. What about you, Erin?
I don't think a dog would work with what we do. Like, I just imagine her bounding through the flower beds.
Well, yeah, I mean, they had to put up a fence around their vegetable garden to keep her out of the raised beds. We couldn't have that. I think what we would need to do is adopt an older dog. And I would be totally happy with that.
Yeah.
I think it would be good for Benjamin at some point. But
Yeah.
adopt an older, quieter dog, not a puppy. I think we just jumped in because we were really excited. But she is so happy where she's at. And she's got 4 kids that live in that house that play with her and that she adores. So it's a really good mix. Sandy said, what a beautiful home. Everything looks so well kept and cozy. I think it's so wonderful of you to share your flowers and containers with so many people. I just have to say that that home, I love going there. There are some homes, I don't know if you guys have this, where you go to some homes and you just feel good being there and you feel good when you leave. That's what kind of home they have. They are not like pretentious, they're not fussy, they just like, they're super hospitable. And so it makes me happy to be able to give them pots and flowers and things like that every once in a while, because I don't know, I feel like they were given the gift of hospitality and something that I don't really possess, I don't think, as much. Like, you might think based on our videos, I mean, we open up our home to you guys in videos, but it's really not like that in real life because there's so much going on here. And I don't know, it's just different. I just really like being there. Anyway, I do agree with you that it's well kept and cozy. Okay, next video was finishing up a few shade window boxes. So at our house, I still am planting planters. I had those, how many planters did I do in that one? Three window boxes, I think. I still have. You remember the trio of containers in our parking area? I planted them up this spring. They still look exactly the same. The violas are like, starting to just like wilt over the sides of the pots when we have hot days. Although, did I mention that today is 55 degrees right now and it's pouring rain out there? I don't think I mentioned that. That's why I'm in a sweatshirt inside in the sun porch. We've had some hotter days close to 100 degrees, but every once in a while, like we've been having these random days where it's just absolutely beautiful. What a gift. We were just so not used to this. That was a side note. Anyway, one of these days I'll have all my planters done. Neil asked, will you ever eat the chickens? And I'm answering this because Neil asked that on about 4 videos in a row. And no, we do not eat our chickens. We eat the eggs and that's it. Chickens are our pets. Dixie said, the impatiens you planted together, did you leave them in the container? No. So there were 6 packs of impatiens, and I didn't explain this in the video, but I did explain that I plant all 6 of them together in the same hole, but I do take them out of their plastic container. So I kind of ease that container off. I leave them kind of in a bunch, squeeze them together a bit, and then pop them in the same hole, and that way you've got kind of this nice full looking plant. Deborah said, I appreciate that you like your glass of water like I do. 400% ice, 10% water. Yes, I'm so glad that somebody understands me. Whenever I ask for that at restaurants, people are like, but then you don't get as much to drink. I'm like, so what's your point? You can just keep coming to my table a little more often. I like things super cold, like ice mounded up over my glass, or I want things piping hot. So when I get coffee, I ask them to do it extra hot, like extremes that way. Debbie said, I have just added the drip irrigation to my containers. How cold does it get in your winters? Do you do something to the main lines so they survive the cold? So for our drip system in our flower beds, the brown tubing that emits water, and then like our 1/4-inch tubing in our containers, we don't blow those irrigation lines out because they have emitter holes. Most of the water soaks out and there's nothing left in the lines. We do, however, blow out our main irrigation system. So our main water lines, our sprinklers, all of those sorts of things we do blow out. It does, I mean, we've had really random winter temperatures. The last 3 years it's been extremely mild. And then the winter before it got down to -17. So you just never know. We do blow them out though for sure because it gets below freezing every year. I think last year was our lowest temp was 9, I think last year, right? And it was just one night. And it's what made our boxwoods look so bad for so long. You playing a game over there? Yeah. Anyway, our boxwoods look a little bit better, a lot better now. Tam says, I've just bought a ceramic picture, but it has water leaking out the bottom. I remember you having a video about sealing it and I couldn't find it. So the video we did was about sealing terracotta containers so that water didn't seep through it. And I'm sure that one or more of the sealers I used in that project would work for you. So we will link that down below. Janice said, you're a plant artist. Thank you. Do you do other artistic things like drawing and painting? I've done a little drawing in the past. I'm not super great at it. I haven't done a lot of painting. They're both things I would be interested in trying out again. I play the piano, and that's about the only other thing I'm really passionate about doing. I haven't played it as much this spring because of course we've been super busy, but I do try to play it as often as I can. Okay, next video was update on our container competition. So we went to our church where we did the 10 true drop self-watering containers, and Erin had planted up 5, I planted up 5, and so we just wanted to give you a 1-month update on how they were all looking, and they're all looking super great. Kenneth said, on your next update, can you please post a picture of them right after planting? Yes. I thought about that later. I thought, you know, it'd probably be a good point of reference to see actually how much they've grown. Instead of having to go back to the original video, it'd be nice side by side. So we'll keep that in mind for the next one. CB Greenfield said, what pesticide were you using on the aphids? I have found that the Rose RX. It's a neem oil based spray. It's a spray for organic gardening, and it works really well. It's also a fungicide and a miticide, I believe too. Yeah, 3 garden products in 1, fungicide, insecticide, miticide. So I keep a RTU ready to use container of that around. I've got one in the greenhouse and it works really well for aphids. Angela said, love the containers. I may have missed this somewhere, but can you winter over the purple fountain grass in the containers if you bring them into a garage or a non-heated greenhouse or cold frame? I've tried wintering them over both in the greenhouse and in the sunroom, like down at the garden center. They have a beautiful sunroom. It stays nice and bright and warm in there, and I didn't have luck either way. So if any of you have had luck wintering over purple fountain grass some way, you've got to let us know in the comment section, because I think a lot of us would love to know how to do that properly. Michael said, for the last pot you showed, the one with the aphids, is there any chance sunlight reflecting off that metal wall burned the plant closest to the wall? Would you expect the other plants in that pot to be as undamaged as they were if the aphids had done all that damage to the one in the back? You know, I mean, that's a definite possibility. I don't think so, because it seemed like both the Supertunia Vista fuchsias, there was one in the front as well as the one in the back. The one in the back was the most damaged, but the one in the front was starting to show a little damage. The other 2 seemed unaffected, so I'm wondering if like maybe those 2 that were sitting together in the same flat in my greenhouse, maybe they had an issue that I didn't notice when we planted them. Maybe they already had the beginnings of aphids, and one of them just kind of bit the dust faster than the other one. Not that it's completely bit the dust. I mean, we cut it back, treated, it should bounce back. So I'm thinking it was the aphid issue and not a heat or a reflection issue, but definitely something to consider. Jessica said, can you go over the differences, pros and cons of Supertunias and Superbells? So have we done a video like contrasting the two? I was thinking about that.
I don't think so.
I don't know that we've actually done a video. I mean, yeah, Supertunias are usually a little bit more vigorous. They're a little bit more versatile in terms of using them in the landscape and in the containers both, because Superbells only really like to do containers because they need to dry out between waterings. I personally have the best luck with Supertunias. I think there's a lot of beautiful varieties of each of them. I find that Superbells are not compatible with a lot of other plants because they don't want the amount of moisture. So they tend to show like yellowing faster because they don't want that amount of water if you've got it paired with something that does like a lot of water, and so forth. We did put some Superbells in our flower alley containers, which we hope to do a update video on those, like maybe even today if the rain lets up a little bit. They're looking beautiful, but the ones that I did mixed with Superbells, those Superbells look a little like they're growing and they have blooms, but they don't look as awesome as I think maybe a Supertunia would look in there. Yeah. Jennifer said, are you fertilizing them weekly like you do at home? So we aren't, but they are being fertilized weekly. So the groundskeeper there, his name is Erin. He maintains everything there. He does such an amazing job. He's been doing it for 2 years now, maybe, or maybe 2 or 3 years. I don't know, but like whatever he does, he owns it. And I kind of am like, Erin, do you want to come fertilize all of our pots? He does such a beautiful job. So he's been really like taking that whole project under his wing and watching everything, making sure it's all looking good, as well as the whole rest of the entire landscape there. So yeah, we're not having to do any of the maintenance, which is awesome.
Actually, all they get is fertilizer water.
Oh, that's all they get?
Yeah, because he waters about once a week
and
fills up the tank with fertilizer
okay.
water.
So he's got a big tank that he puts in the back of his truck, right? And it waters like via gravity. So it's up higher than the pots. I couldn't think of the word. So Erin said he mixes up the fertilizer in that tank of water and he fills those reservoirs once a week. So every week the reservoir is being filled with water that has fertilizer in it. It's probably why they're looking so awesome. Cheers Bloom said, what is the diameter of these containers? I think they're 26 inch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 26 inch. Crescent is the brand. True Drop self-watering containers, and they're the dot planters. We'll link them down below. Next video was planting updates and adding a bit of color. So in that video, we were still at the church. We did updates on 4 other video projects that we had done there in the past, just showing you how things were looking, how things were coming along. And then we went ahead and added a little bit more perennial color into one of the areas. So Nai said, not related, but are daffodils perennial? Another question, is there a place other than color blends you can get your tulip bulbs? So I think there was another question about like, yeah, Margie said, didn't you plant bulbs there as well, or did I just dream that? So we did plant bulbs, and I think that's where the daffodil question came from. I'm going to move this question up with the other one. We planted tulips, daffodils, and hyacinths up there last fall, and then with the quarantine this spring, we didn't get to see any of it. My mother-in-law, though, they went down there because they were doing services online and stuff, and she told me that it was amazing. Like the color mix was beautiful and it was like a wave of bloom. Like there was some early blooming stuff, mid blooming, and then late blooming. So I'm hoping everything comes back just as strong next year so that we can see it. But daffodils here are perennial. In your zone 4B should be perennial. In fact, they are one of the best bulbs to come back reliably. And they're the best to naturalize. There are some tulips that are pretty reliable, but there are many varieties that are not as reliable. They come back a little bit thinner every year. The other place, other than color blends, I've had such phenomenal luck with color blends bulbs. I mean, phenomenal luck. I've just loved them. I get a lot of bulbs too at my parents' garden center, which I think their brand is Van Engel, Lemon, I don't know. Try to find it and put it on the screen. And where else? I've ordered only one other variety of bulbs from another place, and that was from Eden Brothers. I ordered the La Belle Epoque tulips because it's the only place I could find them. And they've been good every year that I've had them, but they are not a reliable bulb. So I planted like 300 that first year, glorious display. And then the next year it was a sad display. And so I ordered 100 more bulbs to amp up the area. And I don't know, I tried out Avirons from Color Blends this last year, and they are a little bit more on the cool pink side rather than that smoky pink. But if they're more reliable for us this next year, I might kind of start swapping out the labels for those because I need more reliability in my life out of my bulbs. Becky said, what would cause my superbells to shrivel and die? Definitely not too dry, maybe too wet. It could be that they got too wet. They rot really easily, and a very sure sign that they're rotting is that they do start to like wilt and shrivel, and they do it pretty quickly. Superbells definitely, they don't want to dry like bone dry between waterings, but they want that top layer of soil to be fairly dry before you water them again. It's just one of those things that like don't give up on them, because there are some that are just amazing, beautiful plants. But for me, it was a learning curve to figure out how to plant them and get them to look really good. And in the end, I feel like planting them alone, just like mono containers where you're just planting superbells, they do the best for me anyway. Paula said, on the subject of your new property and plans for scaling up, have you done proper soil testing on that property? Not yet, but we plan to. Also, regarding disease and insect pressures, are you prepared to investigate and mitigate? Yes. I know you say you don't like to do research, but I feel you need to at least have good consulting resources somewhere, an extension specialist, an association of growers, or both. So I have one resource is my parents, who have been gardening here forever, wealth of knowledge there. I also know a lot about what goes on in our area. I mean, I don't know everything for sure, but typically when I see something happening with a plant, I know what it is. I know what's going on based on what we typically deal with in our area, but I do have some excellent resources in the growing industry. You know, we partner a lot with Proven Winners, and there are some amazing, I mean, Stacy Hervella at Spring Meadow Nursery, I text her all the time with questions like, look at, you know, what's going on here. I've also got really good contacts at the perennial division, which is Walter's Gardens. And so if I have something that I don't know what's going on, there are people I can reach out to that will help me out. But yeah, I'm not super huge on research, mostly for projects. For something like an issue I'm having, I'm okay doing a little bit of research on that. After the issue happens.
Had a problem.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna research issues that I've never dealt with. Like, ooh, what issue?
Do.
Yeah, but what a waste of time. That's a huge waste of time.
People don't want to fail though. You're okay failing, which is good because you get a lot of stuff done. And you'll fail 3 or 4 times and succeed before somebody even has the gumption to fail once. So it's a good
I don't
thing.
fail 4 times.
No, but you know what
Maybe
I mean? Like
2 times.
Just your overall thought process is just like, I'm just going to roll in and I don't care what happens. And that can be really good.
Like our whole cut flower garden.
But I don't think you're going to fail in that. But
so far, so good. Everything looks great out there.
You don't
Corn
want
is
to
up.
research the things that might...
No, because I feel like you may not ever deal with those issues. Like spend your energy focusing on the other things. I don't know. Okay. Erin and I are different that way too. Erin's a huge researcher, so we balance each other super well. Like he can help like rein me in a little bit, and then I can help push things forward a little bit. Although you push a lot of things forward too. May said, why the plant you use here are small while the one you use at your home are big and luscious? I don't really...
Which video are we on now?
The church one. So, like the fluffies I planted there, same size of fluffies I planted in my garden. The denim and lace I planted there, same size as I planted here. The reason why it looks small is because that area is vast. And so the plants aren't filling it up yet, but they will. Jamie said, high desert, hot and humid? Is it really humid there? I grew up in Central Florida and I'm not sure they know what humidity is. Did I say it was humid?
You said humid.
When? That was a mistake.
Yeah, you said it was hot and humid.
What?
Here.
I did?
Yeah, I saw a lot of people that commented on that.
Oh, that was a slip of my tongue. I did not, I'm hot and dry. And high desert, very hot and humid. These plants are all doing great.
If by humid you meant not humid,
Like
then
bone
yes.
dry. I'm sorry for that. I didn't mean to say it was hot and humid. I meant to say it's hot and dry. And no, I mean, I know what humidity is because I've been to Florida and I've been to Michigan and all these places that are, the humidity is crazy. And I don't know how you guys do it. We are hot and dry for sure. And that's how come typically I can wear my hair down and can wear long sleeves and pants and not suffer through the summer. So anyway, I can't believe I said that. That's weird. What was going on in my brain? Melanie said, I'm amazed that you can stand it looking so sparse. Usually you just pack things full at the risk of having to take things out if they grow too much. Is it because it's still a work in progress? a couple of things. It is still a work in progress, and we wanted to add some things slowly as time goes on. Also, when we're doing the rest of their landscaping, there is very kind of commercial. There's a lot of space between plants, a lot of space to allow growth, and that's how I wanted this area to look. I want it to look cohesive with the rest of the landscape there, and I don't want it to become this huge maintenance nightmare for anybody. I don't want there to be a ton of perennials and a ton of things to cut back or deadhead and that sort of thing. So we wanted to keep it a little bit on the keeping the mature size of the plants in mind. It will be full when those plants are grown. I mean, there's a little bit of room maybe for more bulbs or some more smaller perennials, but if you were to look up the mature sizes of all those plants, it will be a very full space in the end. Okay, and the last questions from this week are from the video this morning that we posted on finally planting our dahlias. Finally. They've been sitting in boxes just languishing. They were a tiny bit desiccated, dried out, and I'm hoping for the best. I'm super happy they're in the ground. Lisa said, may I offer a suggestion? You may want to consider putting in more of the twine ropes closer together. I think you're right. That way you can weave them up as they grow. It's a great way to prevent the stems from bending when the flowers make them top heavy. Trial and error. I think that's a really good idea. So I think I might run a second one in between the 2 and the 4, because I don't even know that our dahlias are going to get up to the 4-foot mark this year with how late I got them planted. So Lisa, thank you for that suggestion. Wendy said, that is a lot of other people working in and around your property. Who is the new person helping in the cut garden? His name is Paul, and he's helping us out with that space primarily. He's been doing a lot of the weed control and helping me lift things and stuff like that. He's been a huge help for us up there. That group of guys that walk by your house, edging sidewalk, I'm excited to see how your new property comes along. So in that video, our landscaper who puts in our brick walkways and he helps us put in water, he brought all the water from our main lines. They ran all the water in the new property. He and 4 of his guys were there because they were putting in a faucet for us by our high tunnel out there. And so he came into the scene at one point and I talked to him for a little while, and then you could see his guys cruise up. They went on a little tour of the garden. There is a couple of projects that they were slated to work on earlier this spring, and things just kind of, how the spring has gone. Anyway, so they went to go look at things, and so it looked like there was an enormous amount of people there, and there really was. There was a lot of activity going on during that project. But now we have a faucet, a hose and a faucet, because even though we have drip tape that's working phenomenally well, I'm super happy with it, we have a high tunnel, which you guys will see that video. I don't know when this video is going out, but either this morning or tomorrow. I don't know when in relation to this video, but we talk about the high tunnel and what we're putting in there, but we needed to have a hose out there. Mariana said, do people ever fangirl when they see you in public? Yes. It's the sweetest thing. It feels weird to me because I go down to the garden center, and there's almost every single time we go down there's a fan from a different state. A lot of the time. It's the weirdest thing, how our timing works out that way, I don't know. Maybe I go down to the garden center way too much. That's probably possible, but I don't know. It's always a really fun experience to meet people and hear their story and hear how maybe our videos have helped them or inspired them or whatever, which really gives me a recharge. Honestly, it helps me feel like, okay, what we're doing is helping people, and that is what it should be all about in the end. So anyway, Katie said, cannot wait to see this all in bloom. I have a question about drip tape. If it gets a hole in it, can it be replaced like normal drip tubing? Are there couplers to repair damaged tubes? Yes, and I will show you. In fact, I'm not going to get out there today because it's a muddy mess, but there is one little hole in the drip tape we ran for the dahlias that I need to put a coupler in. It's super easy to repair them.
It's also so inexpensive.
Yeah.
It's almost easier just to replace
the whole tape.
Just one line of tape.
Yeah. Except for I didn't want to replace these because my couplers are placed exactly by each tuber, so I'm going to use a coupler on that. Anyway. Sue said, so do you have to dig up and store? We do in our area, and I will most definitely be doing that this fall, and we will do a video about it. When we planted these dahlias, I didn't really make it instructional because we're late, and I feel like I need to do that video more educational style and a little more close up when the timing is proper. And we had a ton to do that day in terms of getting all the staking set up and all of that. So I'm hoping in the future we can do more specific videos, but I spend a lot of money on those tubers, and I really want them to, I want to perpetuate the crops and hopefully like amp them up every year. I hope we get more tubers every year and I add to them every year. It'd be really fun. Nicole said, have you seen much gopher action on the new property? Well, yes, but less and less. Our neighbor who has been helping us out with like some random things like helping us burn the weeds in our field, he came over and he's been trapping them. He grew up on a farm. He knows what to do. So it's the sweetest thing. He comes over like early in the morning. I see him on his four-wheeler and he's out there just messing around. Then he comes back and checks on them like a couple times a day. He's caught 15 so far. But we're still seeing new gopher activity. I mean, when you have 3.6 acres of untouched land that the gophers have been living in for ever, we're bound to have some issues. I'm really hoping that they stay away from the gophers, but I'm going to be putting some of that repellent. What's it called? It's not Molmax, is it?
Repelzol?
It's a Repelzol, but it's got a specific name. We'll put a picture of the canister up. It's such a small area. I feel like I could really douse it down with the repellent, and hopefully that'll help. I wish I could just have an airplane dump an entire load of it on the entire property. Our neighbors would be mad though. We'd push them all out to the neighbor's property. Thomas said, hi Laura, what's the reason for so many fences? I see the new land full of artificial separations that makes me confused. So we have, in the new land, we have a fence on the border, like on the barrier of our property, which is really nice just to create the distinction. I work really well within borders. And the reason why we did a ranch panel or cattle panel fence around our new cut flower garden space was because I do work well within borders and I needed trellising for some vine crops. And I thought, well, I need something that's movable, like that I can take up and move somewhere else. And may as well just put up a ranch panel fence and plant all my vines along that, and then thus creating like this designated space. But all of it's going to move. So it is there for this year. It'll be there for next year, maybe even a third year. Who knows? It depends on how quickly we can develop the actual space where this garden's going to go. But we're going to take that pretty slow and do it properly and prep the soil properly and all that sort of thing. So anyway, I like it. I like it out there. I mean, it looks like it's kind of popped out in the middle of nowhere, but it kind of is. But it's been a really fun space. I was just telling Erin the other day, like all my corn is up about this far, and I didn't get all of my sunflowers planted, but I got 850 feet of them planted. I have 850 more feet to plant. But I'm like almost more interested in that space than I am. Like it's fun to have different projects because it keeps your interest peaked. It keeps me energized. It keeps me trying new things because I do get bored after a certain amount of time, and I don't want to continue just doing the same exact things over and over again. I got to make it different. So this is really affording me that opportunity, and it's been a super fun process. So anyway, that's it for this week's recap video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and we will see you in the next one. Hope you all have a great week. Bye.